Joined on the phone today by James Alex. He is the frontman for the band Quiet Slang. They're playing at the 7th Street Entry in Minneapolis on June 15th. Hey, James, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing quite well. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, of course. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Quiet Slang here for the listeners. Maybe if they only know you from Beach Slang, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's sort of, well, look, I've sort of likened loud slang to just, we're sort of, guitars, bass, and drums played loudly, right? Quiet Slang, sort of this piano, cello played softly, right? It's just this sort of, Beach Slang is sort of me adoring the Replacements, and Quiet Slang sort of me fawning over the magnetic fields. It's just a sort of, more tender version of this loud, reckless thing called Beach Slang.
So what was the decision to make the switch to that more stripped-down sound? Just wanted to try something new, or did you always kind of have that in mind? You wanted to give that a shot?
I think it's that. Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to for a while. I mean, I've just always dug that instrumentation, that cello piano combination. It's just sort of tender and haunting, and I just love the way it sort of mashes together. So I've had that in my head for quite a long time, and then I did. Fast forward to like when Beach Slang was about 6 months old, and I got asked to do NPR Tiny Desk, and I did that, and I was getting all this feedback from people about like, you should make a record like that, and I sort of was like, that's when it kind of snapped together for me. So it was like, I think it was like, wanting to do it, but then sort of that NPR thing giving me the allowance to do it. I didn't want to disappoint, people that connect with Beach Slang, that sort of loud rock and roll thing. So I think I was just a little guarded about it. And then after the Tiny Desk thing, I was like, okay, maybe I can get away with this,
So did any of the hardcore fans, were they all cool with you going into this new territory, or did you see any blowback from that?
No, right now everything seems really cool. I mean, honestly, much more than I expected, because I did expect, a bit of a, so you're not done with guitars, right? I sort of expected a bit of a ripple of that, but I think I don't know, man. I haven't felt any of that. So I feel lucky in that way. I mean, I've been reassuring people, like, this isn't like a departure. This isn't like, I'm not going to have to dust off my guitar. I mean, I have the next Loud Slang record written. I pretty much, after this tour, go into the studio to make that record. Like that is my band, being loud and guitars and all that good stuff. This is just, trying to flex the narrative of this band a little bit. I'm not always on 11. Sometimes it's kind of nice to weight things a little bit differently.
Definitely. Well, again, Quiet Slang coming to Minneapolis here at 7th Street Entry, June 15th. Have you been through Minnesota much in the past? Have you played here over the years?
Yeah. Beach Slang does. I mean, it's sort of, Minneapolis is one of those. It's sort of our spot. I mean, the first time we came through, Tommy Stinson had us out for a week, and he brought us through. We played a date there at Turf Club, and we really got embraced by that room. And I just think it has served us well. I've never played 7th Street though, which is a real dream come true kind of moment for me. So I am flipped out to be playing there.
Yeah, I know you mentioned your love of the Replacements. I know you've covered them before. That's 7th Street really kind of where they cut their teeth, I think.
It is, man. It feels like it's more a church to me than a venue. I mean, I'm really knocked out. I tried to, and I've never been there. I've been to First Avenue, but I've never I never walked into 7th Street before. So it's that day is going to be loaded with really cool stuff for me. I've been looking. I remember getting the tour routing for this thing, and I saw 7th Street on there, and I immediately called my booker, and I'm like, this won't change, right? Like, we're going to play, this is going to play 7th Street. And they assured me it was. And, here we are, I'm, a week or so away from it. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. It's a cool venue. Definitely more intimate than, the big arenas and that sort of thing. So you really get down there and get sweaty with the crowd.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's where sort of, that's my element. That's where sort of I prefer to be. We made a very considered decision with Quiet Slang for sure to make it. The venues are more intimate, and because it sort of demands that. It wants that, right? Us to just have a space where we can kind of look each other in the eyes and just sort of have some time together. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know, James, you just had a new album out not too long ago, Everything Matters, But No One Is Listening. Can you tell the listeners a bit about the new album in case they haven't checked it out yet?
Yeah. It's 10 Beach Slang songs. So sort of, I took these sort of loud guitar drum things and twisted them into cello and piano. Sang with a few friends of mine to sort of give it this, I described it as a back alley choir. It just has that, what I wanted to do was I wanted to sort of frame the lyrics differently and sort of have them, they're sort of front and center, and then just building this sort of emotional sort of sweep around it. And I think we pulled it off. It was one of those things where it was just it felt like, real musicians do stuff like that. And I didn't think I had a place in that. I'm a rock and roll guy. I grew up that way. I'm more power chords than learning augmented chords and things like that. But you have to grow. You grow or die, right? So sort of rolled the dice and gave it a shot and got to play with a couple of really talented folks on this record, and I think we pulled it off.
So then when it comes to the live shows, we're seeing a mix of both things maybe? Are we seeing Beach Slang with more cello and maybe a Quiet Slang with more guitar at some point, or do you go back and forth between the two?
Yeah, it'll be go back and forth, which is really nice. It's kind of like we just got back from a Loud Slang tour a month ago, right? So it was just we were out for 6 weeks total, guitar just going every night for it, and then it's kind of it's really nice then to sink into sort of softer thing, and then it's going to be okay, we go out for a month on this, and it's then it's just this sort of being reborn into the loud stuff again. It's every time I sort of switch gears or there's such a fresh energy to sort of stepping back into either the quiet or the loud space, kind of gives you that distance, sort of makes you feel a little fonder when you get back to it. And I've been discovering that that's true. And I think it's invigorating to both projects. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, again, you have the show coming up at the 7th Street Entry on June 15th. I know the album just out and you're on tour now, but is there anything maybe in the works or something else we should be looking out for?
Yeah, as soon as I get back from this tour, I'll be going in the studio to record the next, Beach Slang record, the loud record. It probably won't be out until early 2019, but I'm incredibly excited at how the demos are sort of chopping together. So that'll be the next big thing on the horizon. I think for the rest of the year, it's kind of, we're going to sort of lay low, just sort of let me write and record and do things like that. But 2019 will be, we'll probably be living on the road.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing you at 7th Street here on June 15th, and looking forward to what we've got in store for next year.
Right on. Can't wait. Thank you so much for your time, man.
And again, that was James Alex, the frontman for the band Quiet Slang, who has a show coming up in Minneapolis at the 7th Street Entry on June 15th.